episode 47 of Mad Props. I know people are like, when are you going to have the new one come out? The new Mad Props. Well, we're working on getting new episodes, but while we wait, we have been doing the throwback episodes to different interviews I've had throughout my career. And we're going to do that one more time before we get started, though. Make sure you check out Schnabel Studios anywhere you get your podcast. Just search it up and you'll find this show. You'll find Sketching Up, Southern Hospitality, all that good stuff. Last episode, I should say, on Sketching Up, we talked about the Barbie movie. My girlfriend, Mary Huddy, joined us. She told us all about the Barbie movie. So if you want to learn more about that, go listen to Sketching Up. New Mad Props. I keep saying, they're coming soon, stuff like that. Trust me, we're trying to make them come soon, but it's just busy times for everybody, including me and the guests. But we're lucky to be able to bring you stuff that we have. We're lucky to be able to bring you interviews that have already been done. And for me, it's nice to bring back these old interviews to see how I've improved myself over the years. And it's kind of cool to go back and look at some of the people that I've interviewed over the years. So let's start that intro and then let's get right into Mad Props, episode 47. So before we run the interview tape, a little background of this episode. This episode is from WNHU, which was the college radio station at New Haven that I was a part of. And I brought on Jon Benjamin, Jon Benjamin. He's known being Bob and Bob's Burgers, but I know him most from Archer. It was one of my favorite shows when it was at its peak on TV. And I was like, I have to get this guy on. And he was great. He was hilarious. I was joined by Joe Brown, Chris Millay. So you'll hear both of those two voices as well as it goes on. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy another interview throwback for Mad Props with Jon Benjamin. Let's roll the tape.
And you said no dates.
I said no such thing.
Well, your mouth did.
Well, your mouth better get over there and make Torvald happy.
Phrasing?
Welcome back. We have a special guest today. He's a voice actor. He's the voice of Archer and Bob on Bob's Burgers. Welcome, Jon Benjamin. Jon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great here.
You don't have to answer.
Yeah, just don't answer at all. Why don't you just no?
Yeah, it's a formality.
Yeah, we don't actually care. No. I was
right.
just.
I cared at the time. I did sort of care, but if you guys don't, and then now I know where we stand.
I thought we could be friends. But I was just curious because I know you had a background in comedy as well as doing improv and stuff like that. How did you end up getting into, because I know you did home movies and all that other stuff, how did you end up getting into voice acting from the start?
Well, it came through this one job that I got when I was doing comedy in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Go Harvard! And there was a company that was making educational software for schools, so they were making animation, and the guy who ran that wanted to branch out into doing comedy for some reason, probably because education was boring. And he did, so he had the facility to kind of make very rudimentary animation. So he found this comedian, Jonathan Katz, who was a very popular comedian in Boston, the Boston area at the time, and they developed this idea together, and I got hired on that show. And that was, it was just, luck, I guess, to get that part. And then from that point, they've made a bunch of other shows from that, because that show is called Dr. Katz, ran on Comedy Central, and then they started making other shows after that, and they got better at doing animation, and so there's the whole story.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, there was more stuff, but that's basics.
So you started off there, but now you have two really big shows on TV with Archer and Bob's Burger. With Archer, was it kind of just fall into your lap, or was it like a big process? Did they come for you, or because you're pretty much like one of the most iconic voices now on TV?
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree. F you, Henry Kissinger. I did. I got asked to do that part, and that was because the Adam Reed, who created Archer, was a fan of the character I played on Home Movies, which was this Adult Swim cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And I played a soccer coach, like a really.
I was a big fan of Home Movies.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so you know what that is. Yeah. I always have to check because it's,
We're not that young yet.
We're not. No.
Call dropped.
Hey, sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, it's okay.
No problem.
No problem.
Working out the kinks on the old iPhone.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, it's just a lot of. It's not easy for an old guy to not have buttons sticking out.
You end up doing the cheek press. You press your cheek against one of the buttons and it turns off.
I really am. I'm finding it. I've hit that point where I can't use technology the same way as I used to. Yeah, same. It's like, right. It's like, and you need to take a pill like Viagra.
It just boosts your technology. No.
It's like the technology version of erectile dysfunction.
For the shows you're on, is it mostly improv stuff, or are the lines actually written down? You read right off of them.
Well, both of the shows I do now, primarily they're written, especially Archer, because Archer, one guy writes all the shows. The guy who created the show writes, I think pretty much every episode that's been done. And that show is very specific in the way they record it. They record everybody separately. And so it's kind of it's almost mandatory to kind of get the lines down because there's a lot of cross-cutting. And so that show, not so much improv, but Bob's Burgers, we definitely do. The cast performs the scenes together, not in the same room, but some of us in the same room, and some live in L.A., but we're all listening to each other at the same time. So that encourages a little more improv. So, and the guy who runs Bob's Burgers was the guy who made Home Movies as well. So, and that was like a lot of improv. So he likes doing it that way.
Yeah, with the two shows, you can kind of see the similarities between some of the stuff Bob's Burgers does and Home Movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely that's his imprint.
Now, on Archer, there's a ton of running gags. What's your favorite running gag? And will phrasing ever make a return?
I think it has. Although no, it's like banned, right? Like Archer has to. Yeah, it's banned. I would hope it would be. I mean, they talk about it more now that it's banned than they used to when they actually did the running gag. So it's becoming its own running gag about not being able to say it. And now there's whole bits of dialogue revolving around, oh, right, I can't say it. But I don't know, there's a lot. There's so many running bits in that show. It's like chock full of them. But I've always answered that I like the answering machine ones. Those are always good. Archer's answering machine is always good.
I enjoyed the one time that he got it back when it was.
What's that?
I like the one time he got it back when I think it was Mallory's art was.
Yeah, Mallory did it back to him. Right. I figure he had to get that from someone. Like, it's genetic.
Now, well, on the frame of Archer, is there ever a time where you've read the script where it goes forward, or something that's being put ahead, and you've been completely, more or less, like, we're doing this today? That's just completely surprised about, wow, this is a little much, or anything like that before?
No, I've Archer sort of out of the gate was a pretty. You mean as far as like raunchiness and
raunchiness,
kind of stuff?
or just overall surprise about where things go?
Not really. I mean, like I was about to say, I feel like the show started off like pretty firmly in that world, so there was no real surprise to as far as even what Archer says or what any of the characters say or do. I mean, and they've definitely gotten maybe a little more surreal than I thought in certain episodes. But I figured, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot to cover, as far as references go. So I'm not really that surprised.
Now, I'm just wondering how much your personality is actually like your character Archer. You might not be getting into the high stakes situations that Archer always finds himself in, but like on a basic level, how much do you relate to Archer?
I mean, I definitely share a lot of his bad character traits, but I enjoy none of the I enjoy none of the lifestyle that he has. I'm unattractive, troll-like, and I have no skills as a spy. So
that we know of.
That we know.
You might be
say
holding
that
information.
if you were a spy. I mean,
that's exactly
true.
what a spy would want us to think, John.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair.
So then what about Bob? He has a much simpler life, right? With the restaurant.
Yeah.
Do you relate to him?
I am kind of a mix of the two of them. My lifestyle now, having a kid, and is a lot more like Bob. But my character is a little Archer-esque, I feel, and really messing up this whole family thing. Bob, it seems like he's doing really well. Like, he's a good family man. He's really competent at it. So that's hard to do.
When you're walking, or if you go somewhere, and people recognize you, do they recognize you by sight, or do they recognize by the voice?
Well, I'm always yelling loudly wherever I go, so that somebody's like, "Oh, there's that guy."
Did you make friends with somebody named Lana?
I get recognized by sight a lot. A lot of people surprisingly know what I look like from Archer. I think it's different than when you like a show now, you can look it up really quickly and look up the people in it, even if it's animated. So I get a lot of notice for Archer. A lot, it's true. A lot of people yelling "Danger Zone" out in the window.
Wonder what song we're gonna play after this.
Which has its problems, because when someone yells "Danger Zone" out a car window and they don't know that I'm who I am, then you're just yelling "Danger Zone" at everybody. It's like it's a terrorist attack. I don't. Yeah, you have to be a fan of Archer to appreciate the irony and the confusion that causes.
Well, if John, if you could be any animated kind of voiceover, if you could voice over any animated character, do you have any personal preference? If you could possibly be anybody in the kind of animated sphere at all?
Wow, like, you mean anybody, or like something from the world of animation that's existed before?
Let's just say anybody at all.
I would. I mean, it would be fun to be like Winnie the Pooh.
Why?
With my voice.
I think there'd be a lot more people trying to understand what you mean by when you're eating the honey with your voice.
Yeah.
I think they would have to put a different rating on the show. And...
Yeah.
You definitely make fun of Piglet a lot more than Pooh does.
That's good, honey. That would be the most disturbing kid show.
I remember Conan had a bit on his show where he kind of went into your Archer world and you had a whole scene with him, and I thought that was pretty funny. Are there any celebrities that you are just absolutely dying to try to get their actual likeness on the show, like not just their voice, but them as their celebrity status on the show?
Yes, I mean Adam Reed had Burt Reynolds, and that was a big. I wasn't there, but he went to record him in Jupiter, Florida, where Burt Reynolds lives, and that was a big treat for him because he loves. I mean, I did like Burt Reynolds as a kid. I feel like maybe one of the James Bond actors would be fun at some point, like Sean Connery or.
That would be really good.
Yeah, Roger Moore. It would be good.
There's a ton to pick
I feel like
from,
it's.
so.
What's that?
There's a ton to pick from with the James Bond films.
Well, maybe the older ones. I don't know if that one guy is still alive. The guy in Her Majesty's Secret Service, right?
Oh yeah.
I
forget.
I
forget which
That
one.
goes way back. I'm sorry, guys.
No. That's gonna bug me.
But there was a Bond that got married, and that was. And that was, I think, Her Majesty's Secret Service. It was like the second one or the third one when Sean Connery wasn't available.
I guarantee you, I'm gonna look it up tonight and start screaming, like just start yelling, like I knew it.
I got it. If I remembered his name, you want me to tell you?
Yes.
George Lazenby.
Yes, yeah. I know George Lazenby. I do.
Yes. George Lazenby would be great. If he's still alive, I would love to. I challenge him to be on our show.
We'll send this to his people.
We'll send it over.
Because no one would really. He was not very famous outside of that one. I feel
That's
like
true.
that was. I don't know how many movies he did, but he certainly didn't. He didn't make it to the States.
Can I give you a suggestion for the show? I would love to see Oprah as a mafia boss. That'd be some great TV right there. You can have that for free. That's for you, John.
Done. Down and done.
You just see him barging into the creative room right there. Just this needs to happen today.
You get a bullet. You get a bullet.
So, John, when you look back on your career, which character would you say was your favorite to play?
Oh, wow. I'd say the T-shirt vendor in the Olsen Twins movie. I thought that was really great.
That or the can from
yeah, and I just reprised my role as the can. I did. They're coming out with a series on Netflix, so I just finished doing that. So the can is back.
Awesome.
It's back.
Do you have any other upcoming works?
Well, I feel like that's coming out in May. The Wet Hot. It's a prequel to the movie, so it's really confusing because everybody's gotten really older, but it happens before the movie takes place. So yeah, that, and I think that's it for me now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Sure, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for sticking around for another episode of Mad Props. Like I said before, follow Schnabel Studios anywhere you get your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that stuff. And then if you want to listen to this, you want to listen to Sketching Up, or you want to listen to Southern Hospitality, anything we have, watch off stage, whatever you do there, search Schnabel Studios or the name of the episode, wherever you get your podcasts, and you will find everything that is under our umbrella. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. We'll be with a new person. It's very close. We'll see. See you guys later.